privileged to moderate a session of eminent speakers on this panel. We have with us, as I was told earlier, we have Mr. Mukesh Kumar is joining online. Good morning, sir. We have Mr. Abhishek Kumar also online. I'm delighted to welcome them. And here with me, I have Dr. K.K. Upadhyay, Mr. Devashish Satyapati, and Ms. Simi Suri. As announced earlier, this year marks the 10th anniversary of CSR regulation in India, which is a milestone in itself. As you would know that India was the first country to mandate CSR, and it has also led to a ripple effect across the world, where many countries have subsequently followed, in letter as well as separate. Of course, CSR has gradually moved in the last 10 years to sustainability, ESG and all that, but CSR still holds its forte actually. CSR still stays there, while it began as being stronger by the day. If we look at figures, this last year I believe India had Indian CSR spend was around 2,800 crore, which is a big number. And over last 10 years, they have done a bit of calculation, and I understand that it was about 2 lakh crore in the last 10 years, which seems to be a mind-boggling figure. And when we look at next 10 years, the figure is projected to be around 7 lakh crore at a CAGR of 7%. So these figures seem to be very big and very mind-boggling, but at the same time they pale in comparison to the government spend on CSR, because this still amounts to only 1.3% of the government spend on social sector actually. But having said that, every rupee is important, and the way it is being used by CSR is very important for all of us. While as these may be the figures, but in the process also CSR has also grown from being a mandatory requirement to strategic investment from companies. So they also moved from merely tick box kind of a thing to making strategically work for various causes. We have also seen that it has evolved from outcome based kind of impact. Those are the kind of changes that have been seen. We have also seen CSR investment going from, of course, sectors, healthcare, education and other sectors, but it has also gone into strategic kind of areas, like in terms of capacity building, institution building and also innovation. So those are some of the broader changes that have taken place over the last 10 years. And when we look at future, I think there are some areas probably CSR needs to factor in those also, because as the demography changes, so I would say that as the elderly population grows, probably those are some of the areas which the CSR fraternity needs to look at. And there's one area which personally I find surprising, that not lots of money or lots of interest has gone into the gender issues, which seem to be still bugging us actually. The easier low-hanging fruits have in education and healthcare, which are very important for us to address at a basic level, because that is what will lead us to other things. And without much ado, I will just turn to my other fellow panelists, esteemed panelists, to make their opening remarks, and then we'll get into a bit of interactive kind of talking points. So let me begin with Dr. K.K. Upadhyay, who has been actually one of the pioneers in this whole journey, and he can probably, I would request him to make some opening remarks, and we will move to other.
Thanks a lot. देखिए, हम लोगों ने एक we have come across a long time now, lot of changes, and when we started with a simple theory. It was either do or we shame you. या तो आप CSR करें, otherwise put it in the public domain so as everybody knows you are not doing anything. That time 20% companies didn't do anything. Then we came to a next stage when we started of 2014, about 2016-17, we said either comply or explain. या तो आप कीजिए or explain why you don't want to do. Still 8% company didn't do it. And they gave a very, what do you call it, बच्चे कहते हैं ना, stupid type of explanations. We could not start, we didn't have staff, we could not plan and all. Come 2021, we said it's either comply or pay penalty. Now you have to do it, 2% you have to spend. That's where it really became mandatory. Now you have to spend it mandatory. Lot of companies have gone to court also. I won't name them. They have lost the case also. If you don't do it, company has to pay 1 crore and individual officer from their account have to pay 2 lakh each. Lot of companies lost in the court, which in one sense I call being is compliance now. You have to do it. One good thing which happened, we don't send you to jail. When initially it started, idea was if you don't do it, we send you to jail. तो अब जेल तो नहीं भेजेंगे, लेकिन आपको फाइन देना पड़ेगा. You have to mandatory do it. At this point, 1,000 companies. Then we also tied lot of other things also. We went to governance. Now we have business responsibility and sustainability report for top 1,000 company, which you have to mandatory do it now. And soon I think it will be mandatory for everybody. Where you have to report on all the aspects, not only CSR now. You have to report what is your board, how much you spend, where you spend, you change your auditors or not. What we call now ESG, environment, social and governance. We started with social. Now in BRSR we have added E, environment, and G also, governance. Then we are also having a social audit now. You can go to social stock exchange. Soon I think we'll allow the CSR money also to go to social stock exchange. And now you can trade off also. And also we are going to soon have social audit standards also. Now, each and everything which you do, not only in public domain, will also audit it and give you a certificate also. जैसे वो fridge में होता है ना 1 star, 2 star. Soon CSR will be also start activity. So I'll ask, are you 1 star or 5 star? That's where you are. So what we have seen कि time के साथ lot of things have changed. We have moved on. And what you said rightly, we started with a noble cause. कुछ अच्छा करें समाज के लिए. Let's do something good. Then we said, no. You have to do it. Now we said, you do it, otherwise pay a penalty. We are moving to the third stage, what you said. It's becoming a strategic. Lot of companies do it, like Tata's, Birla's, even SCL and all. You have been doing it for years basically. It's not something new for a lot of companies there in DNA. लेकिन बाकी लोगों को हम फोर्स करना चाहते हैं. You better do it.
Thanks, Dr. Upadhyay, for beautifully illustrating some milestones with some of the journey. There are two points which I would like to add to that. One is that CSR officers who are individually responsible for compliance can be fined. Now that's a major, I think I would say that force which will really force people to do it. Now whether people should be forced to or not, that may be a different debate, but there's a provision for fining individual officers. And the second thing is what he said, Dr. Upadhyay said, is that we're moving towards other things like AG and all that, but having said the CSR still holds its position very strongly here. So I'll come back to Ms. Suri here, who has been leading HCL's CSR portfolio along with her big team there, and they've done wonderful work. So probably we'll make some opening remarks here.
I think, first of all, good morning to everybody. And I think lot has been shared, and which is really a true fact. Because earlier, whenever CSR was done in the companies, it was more of a one of its kind. Events were there, and it was not into a long-term kind of a development. But over the period, everybody has become serious. I think after law coming in, people are giving in, the dedicated time. Projects have come in, and people have started joining us from the development sector also. But if I see the evolution and the impact, because I have spent 17 plus years with HCL, and the way Dr. Upadhyay said, it's not in the DNA, but I think in certain companies like Tata's and others, it is in the DNA. Compassion and passion is with everybody, but very few are there who bring it out. It is that I stayed with the company for that long because they were truly wanting to do something for the community. It was not that, we, for the namesake or the tick in the box, the way Rajiv shared. No doubt it was happening like that also. So prior to this thing, I was with a UK multinational company, and there also I was taking care of their CSR, but it was more to attract, you can say, customers, just to be good in the environment. Yes, we do some social responsibility also. But since the compliance and this has become mandatory, I think that seriousness has also come in. I think without whacking, at times people don't move. Everybody is not so self-evolved, or I'll say consciously so, on the top. Some people need little move and shake, and you have to wake them up. Ki, come on, if you are getting so many profits, give back to the society, because this is the society where we get our profits from, and we are drawing the resources to that extent that we need to give back. So I will again talk about HCL. HCL is not only about HCL Foundation, Shiv Nadar Foundation is there, and they have other philanthropic, and I think now it's nothing a secret. Everybody knows the more you give, the more you get. So people do their charity in their own way, and this is a very strong belief in our organization that you have to give back to the society. And I don't know, I shouldn't be quoting that, but I think year on year, HCL has never gone down, it has gone up only. So whatever profits are there.
Thank you, Sumiji. It is wonderful hearing about HCL, because HCL is one of the few companies in India, there are some of the others also, which is not only into CSR heavily, but also into private philanthropy. Probably if you get time, will touch that something later on. So I'll take this opportunity to say, Patricia, I'll come to you last of all, because you have the most profound thing to say. So before that, I'll come to our friends who are on the other side online. Mukesh Kumarji from IICA is with us, and for those my friends who may not know, IICA was the actually the prime mover behind the CSR law in India, which Bhaskar Chatterjee साहब हुआ करते थे उन दिनों. So they've done lots of work there. So I'll request Mukesh Kumar to add to what Dr. Upadhyay already said, and give us a quick sense of where we have reached last 10 years.
Thanks all the panelists. Thanks for having me here. And the way in which my friend Dr. Upadhyay has mentioned, I would talk about not just the major milestones, but also about what was the spirit behind when we were actually forming this legislation in India. The idea was not to impose any tax in the first place. Many companies wanted that, why are you dragging us into this whole business of social development or environmental sustainability? Let me do the work that we were supposed to do for maximizing the shareholders' profit. But our idea was that you have to move away from a shareholders' profit to maximizing shareholders' profit to a stakeholder engagement into this entire process. The second thing is, we also wanted it to be a board-driven agenda, not a government-driven agenda. It was very easy for us to impose that 2% tax at that point in time, and companies were willing to do that. But that would not have involved the corporate sector into the social development journey, whether it is SDG achievement or any other kind of thing. Third important point was that we had made certain assumptions that the companies would not just bring in money, but would also bring in their expertise by which they are running their own businesses. Which I don't have any qualms in saying that in the government we lack that kind of expertise or the business acumen that the corporate sector brings. On all these three counts, I would say that in the last 10 years, more or less the corporate world has proven our expectations right, but also has gone beyond what they were supposed to do. We have achieved the first milestone, as Mr. Tiku pointed out, of 2.1 lakh crore in the last 10 years, and this number is growing. And if you go by my estimate, in in the next 10 years, it is going to be, right now it is around $3.3 billion. And in the next 10 years, it is going to be $6.7 billion per year. So much more than what many of our free trade agreements that we have done with the countries like Switzerland. Every year they are bringing in that $100 billion. We will be able to bring in that $100 billion also in the next 15 years. So kudos to this entire team where they worked hand in hand with them. Of course, there were some laggards, and that happens in every journey. There will be some who are the initiators, those who had done it before and have been doing it, but they also picked up. The laggards also picked up in between, and I would particularly like to mention during COVID, our apprehension was that the companies would say that we won't be able to do it. But I'm very happy to share that in the year 21-22, companies spent more than the previous year in 2021 and 21-22. That showed the commitment which the Indian corporate sector has towards the social development agenda of the country, and they are actually coming up as a partner, not just as a kind of compliance doer, to a larger partnership under that. One last point before I stop is we have achieved this target. We have achieved this target of 2.1 lakh crores in the last 10 years. But that is only the number. The quality and the depth of CSR programs that we are looking at currently, these are the numbers which we would like to see more work to be done. I won't say that work has not been done, but more work has to be done in this process. And in the subsequent discussions, I'll also try to point in what are expectations of the government and what support which as an organization, IIC as an organization can provide to the Indian corporate sector. That also we will offer it to you. Over to you, Mr. Tikku.
Thanks a lot, Mukesh Kumarji. I think those are very important points you made. We'll come back to you for more details, and I'm sure you are the one who will have answers to them, being the center of this whole journey. Actually, I'll come to Abhishek Kumarji quickly, who is from LG and is joining us online. Welcome, Abhishek Kumarji. So, would like to make you some opening statement, and then we'll come back to you.
Thank you, Hill Foundation, for giving this opportunity, and thank you to all our co-panelists. मैं एक जेनरिक जो मेरा 24 इयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस है, सॉरी मुझे फीवर है इसलिए मैं फिजिकली अपेयर नहीं हो पाया, और 24 इयर्स, मोर देन 24 से आई वर्क विद डिफरेंट NGOs एंड इवन कॉर्पोरेट्स. जब ये एक्ट नहीं आया था तब भी मैं किसी कंपनी का CSR देख रहा था, और तब से अभी जब एक्ट आया वो भी देखा, और जो मेरी समझ में, चूँकि मैं ग्राउंड पे जाकर काम कर रहा हूँ और जो अपने एक्सपीरियंस है वो शेयर कर रहा हूँ. जब 2013-14 में जब CSR एक्ट नहीं था, जब CSR फंडिंग नहीं थी, फिर भी हर ब्लॉक के अंदर में 2-4 NGO बहुत अच्छे काम कर रहे थे, और मेजॉरिटी सोर्स ऑफ फंड वाज गवर्नमेंट एंड सम इंटरनेशनल डोनर्स वाज देयर. 2014 के बाद धीरे धीरे कॉर्पोरेट्स की तरफ सारे फोकस हुए, और अगर आज देखें 12 साल के बाद, 10 साल के बाद, 11 साल के बाद, तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ NGOs एंड अदर पीपल आर लुकिंग फॉर CSR फंडिंग. And actually where this spend is going on of the government, so every department has social welfare funds. They are doing lots of activities in the health, education, environment, everything. अगर हम CSR फंड को और एक सोशल वेलफेयर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के फंड को हम कंपेयर करें तो CSR फंड मैक्सिमम 1% कॉम्प्राइजेज है, 99% गवर्नमेंट के थ्रू आता है. तो और CSR एक्ट के अंदर में ये बड़ा स्पेसिफिक मेंशन्ड है कि दिस इज नॉट अबाउट द फंडिंग, दिस इज अबाउट द मैनेजमेंट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट्स. तो कहीं जो हम कई बार डिरेल होते हैं कि हमने इतने सारे गांव में किया, मैं इतने सारे बच्चों को एड्रेस कर रहा हूँ, So CSR fund is to create the model, and from that act, I think government is that act is saying that जैसे आप अपने बिजनेस को सस्टेनेबल बना रहे हो, जैसे अपने बिजनेस को प्रॉफिटेबल बना रहे हो, जो ये एक्टिविटीज आप CSR के अंदर कर रहे हो उसको भी सस्टेनेबल बनाओ, उसको भी ऐसा मॉडल क्रिएट करो ताकि मैक्सिमम गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी, अदर एनजीओ, अदर लोग उसको फॉलो कर सके और एक चेन रिएक्शन हो सके। तो मेरा मानना है कि CSR फंड आज के डेट में सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से लेकर प्रधान तक CSR फंड के लिए CSR फंड के लिए वो ट्राई करता है कि किस फंड से मिल जाए ताकि हमारे गांव में सड़कें बन जाए, या गांव में हमारे कम्युनिटी सेंटर बन जाए, स्कूल बन जाए, या पर्सनल कुछ हेल्थ प्रोग्राम्स हो जाए। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट्स में से भी जब आता है, मिड में आता है, आप डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में जान लो, अथॉरिटी में जान लो, सबको CSR फंड के ऊपर में फोकस होता है कि ये CSR फंड से होता है। तो आई थिंक कि जो कंपनी काम कर रही हैं, अभी भी IICA से मुकेश जी बैठे हुए हैं, आई थिंक कि उनको एक CSR कमेटी जो होती है, जो डिसीजन मेकर्स होते हैं कंपनी के लिए, उनके लिए एक ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम ऑर्गेनाइज करना चाहिए ताकि वो CSR फंड का प्रॉपर यूटिलाइजेशन कर सके और वो प्रॉपर तरीके से उनको यूटिलाइजेशन वो फोकस्ड वे में काम कर सके। तो आई थिंक कि CSR का जो, और नेचुरली हर साल ये फंड बढ़ रहे हैं, लोग खर्च कर रहे हैं, और सर्टेनली एक्ट आने के बाद ही CSR में जो CSR फंड का जो स्पेंड है वो ज़्यादा बढ़ा है। अगर एक्ट में थोड़ी सी भी कमी आती है तो शायद इसमें जो फंड है वो भी उस तरह का स्पेंड नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो आई थिंक दिस इज द, एंड समटाइम्स पीपल से दैट दिस इज द ब्रांडिंग स्ट्रेटजी, आप ब्रांडिंग कर रहे हो, आप मार्केटिंग कर रहे हो। आई डोंट थिंक दिस इज एनीथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट। If some welfare is going and some innovative work is going and branding is also going together, then there should not be any issue in the branding or promotions. So this is my take on the CSR.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Abhishek Kumar. That was very helpful to hear those kind of things. We'll come back to you for, because you're one of the two companies who are here, and I'm sure lots of my friends in the audience have lots of questions of you guys, both of you. So we'll come to that a bit later. But before that, I'll come to Satpathy Saab. Satpathy Saab wants to go back a bit beyond 10 years to talk about CSR, what we call CSR today. We have always had charity, philanthropy, donations. It has been part of our culture. I mean, if I remember last year, there was a news report somewhere we said that Jamshedji Tata was the biggest philanthropist of last century when you compute the figures as of now also. So Bill Gates and others may have been donating billions of dollars, but Tata still stands tall, the original Tata actually. So we'll come back to those things after we hear a few words from Satpathy Saab, and then I think we'll also play a short video from him.
Okay. So good morning to all of you, and I just don't want to repeat what the experts have already spoken, and they are much more knowledgeable than me. And NBCC, as you know, we have presence all over the country and abroad as well, including Andaman Nicobar and entire northeast and everywhere. हम मजाक से लोगों को बोलते हैं दिल्ली में, इंडिया में जो भी तोड़फोड़ हो रहा है हम ही कर रहे हैं इसको, इंक्लूडिंग भारत मंडपम and the Sarojin Nagar, Narojin Nagar, East Kidwai Nagar, whatever you see. Okay, coming back to the subject of CSR, CSR is not a 21st century phenomenon, I'll tell you. And it's not that in 2014, because this act has come and people have started working off and the donation has started. It was there in Mahabharata times also. While mentoring and coaching to Arjuna, Krishna has also mentioned something about CSR, right? It was in the form of PSR, that is personal social responsibility. What he mentioned is that each and every professional need to follow 4 yajnas. The first yajna is called Drabya Yajna. Drabya Yajna means you need to donate a part of your earning towards the society where you have, we are born and brought up and we have taken so much from the government for our career and all this. Second Yajna he talks about Yoga Yajna. Means you should have the concentration in the organization so that our output is the maximum. Third is the Dhyana Yajna. Yoga and Dhyana are like keeping yourself bodily fit and mentally and physically fit so that you can deliver the maximum. And the fourth one, which is most important, is the Jnana Yajna. So you need to sharpen your saw and you need to update yourself all the time so that you can deliver the maximum. So let's see what Krishna has mentioned and how, while coaching and mentoring Arjuna, what he talks about CSR and PSR. Please move ahead. The first one.
Friends, let me share with you one management lesson from Mahabharata. This is on 4 yajnas of a professional. Arjuna asked Krishna while being mentored by him, what is yajna, the ritual offering? Krishna said, there are 4 types of ritual offerings. First is Drabya Yajna. When you use your wealth for the welfare of the society, it is called Drabya Yajna. Second one is Tapo Yajna. When a person makes his actions his penance, his life becomes Tapo Yajna. Hey Arjun, following your religion is a kind of worship, but it is not religion based. It is eternal. It benefits the person as well as society. Third yajna is yoga yajna. It takes a person into meditation. The fourth one is the jnana yajna. All 4 yajnas are important, but the jnana yajna is most important since knowledge can distinguish between good and bad. The fire of knowledge can purify action. Knowledge brings focus and the essence of action. Knowledge frees you from bonds of temptation. Only through knowledge you can cross the sea of sins.
किंतु वास्तव में यज्ञ 4 प्रकार के हैं। पहला द्रव्य यज्ञ है। इसमें अर्जित द्रव्य और धन को समाज कल्याण के कार्यों में लगाया जाता है, अर्थात ये लोक सेवा यज्ञ है। दूसरा तपो यज्ञ है। जब कोई अपने कर्म को अपनी तपस्या बना लेता है तो उसका जीवन तपो यज्ञ बन जाता है। हे पार्थ, अपने धर्म का पालन भी यज्ञ है, किंतु ये धर्म सांप्रदायिक नहीं, सनातन है। ये व्यक्ति और समाज दोनों ही के लिए कल्याणकारी है। तीसरा यज्ञ योग यज्ञ है। इसमें अष्टांग योग की साधना की जाती है और इसमें लोग ध्यान और समाधि का मार्ग अवलंब करते हैं। प्राणों का प्राणों में हवन किया जाता है। चौथा यज्ञ है ज्ञान यज्ञ। यूं तो पार्थ चारों ही यज्ञ महत्वपूर्ण हैं, परंतु श्रेष्ठतम है ज्ञान यज्ञ, क्योंकि ज्ञान ही तो अच्छे और बुरे में अंतर करता है और अपनी अग्नि में तपाकर कर्म को शुद्ध करता है और शुभ बनाता है। ज्ञान ही तो कर्म के उत्कर्ष का चरम बिंदु है और ज्ञान ही तो तुम्हें मोह बंधनों से मुक्त कराएगा पार्थ। हे पार्थ, पाप के सागर को केवल ज्ञान की नौका ही पार कर सकती है।
Let me share with you the management lesson from this epic. The word yajna comprises of 2 words, yaj and ya. Yaj means worshipping or rendering service and ya means whom. Therefore, yajna means worshipping the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Supreme Lord. A professional has 4 major actionable responsibilities. First, he needs to spend a part of his earnings for the society. This is giving back to the roots and called personal social responsibility. This is Drabya Yajna. Second yajna is Tapo Yajna, which refers to the commitment and dedication to his profession. Tapo means worship. Hence, for the professional, work is worship. For him, the assigned deliverables are prime and supreme. Rest are secondary. Third yajna is Yoga Yajna. A professional needs to maintain the highest level of concentration and be focused. Take care of his mental and physical health to be highly productive. The fourth yajna is Jnana Yajna. A professional needs to have superior domain knowledge and should sharpen the saw. This would enable him to differentiate between good and bad decisions. It would also enable him in developing the competencies of adaptability, quality focused, resilience, result orientation, perseverance, proactiveness, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very interesting. Thank you, Satpathy sir, for helping us link CSR with personal social responsibility. I've already warned that we're running short of time, so I'll have a quick round of questions for all our panelists before we close. The first question will go out to Simiji. There's lots of people out there, they always have this feeling that, well, there will always more people who will not get these CSR funding than the people who will get it, which is understandable. But what are the biggest challenges you face while extending CSR funding to NGOs or even smaller organizations? Just sum up briefly.
This challenge, no doubt, was very much there when the law came in, and we saw, you must have heard about HCL grant, where we are giving 16.5 crores pan-India. And it is in the three thematic areas: health, environment and education. So what we realized that, sorry to say, there are international players, there are big NGOs who have very good management skills and everything. They can write well, they can do many things. But smaller players we saw those who have very good intention but were not able to come in the forefront, and somehow these were backed by there's nothing wrong about it because they have the capacity, capability of spending that kind of money. We were okay for certain years, but somewhere the pinch was there. There are people who were genuinely coming to us that we are doing such amazing work, but we don't get to see the grant, and either you increase or something. So we had the 3 winners, then we added 6 more, and they were given 25 lakhs each of them for a year, and these people were getting, the grant was for 5 years, but every year a fresh grant, and people could reapply also. Then we thought, why not to do the capacity building? We started having our reach in various places where HCL does not have business, going to Bhopal, Udaipur, where we don't have, Arunachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, where we don't have business. But reaching out and doing the capacity building for these NGOs, what is CSR, how you apply, what is online, how you fill the form. So those symposiums turned out to be our, you can say, key changes. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for saying that capacity building is very important and very much needed in the smaller NGO sector particularly. I would ask Abhishek Kumar ji quickly, if you could just briefly tell us what are the criteria you adopt when you really award grants or CSR funding to companies or smaller NGOs actually.
इस तरह का कोई स्पेसिफिक कोई क्राइटेरिया नहीं है. एजुकेशन, हेल्थ और एनवायरनमेंट के ऊपर मेन फोकस होते हैं, और जो भी इस तरह के अप्रोच आते हैं तो उसके ऊपर ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग होती है, CSR कमेटी को प्रेजेंट किया जाता है. इफ दे अग्री देन दे स्टार्ट टॉकिंग विद द पार्टिकुलर NGO or a particular project. So this is the simple thing.
Thanks a lot. I'll come to Satpathy ji. When you award, you're from you're a PSU actually. So do you have different kind of challenges than the private corporate sector has when you award? It's like more you have to fund, say, government kind of schemes, toilet building or giving computers. Do you go by? Of course, there's a long laundry list in the CSR regulations. But do you really specifically focus on these kind of areas, or you also think beyond out of the box also in terms of capacity building, training, innovation?
You are absolutely correct. Whatever is mentioned in the Schedule 6 or 7, probably we have covered almost everything, including renovation of Lal Killa to Purana Killa also and all this. But I just wanted to point out one thing. Would you like to be happy, all of you? Life में खुश होना चाहते हो? In the World Happiness Index, Finland is coming consistently the number 1 in the world. And India's number is 136. You know, one of the reasons is that we don't donate. One of the reasons why Finland is consistently number 1 in the world is they donate like anything. So if you permit, sir, 3 minutes video only.
Sir, it will show that in time. Honestly,
okay.
We can play that sometime during the break.
Okay. But it is very, very interesting. I'll tell you, connecting to Mahabharata, Ramayana, Mahabharata particularly.
Play that later.
Okay. So the one is the donation which they do, right? Which they do generously. One of my friend is serving for Action Aid. He said we are getting the maximum aid from these 3 countries: Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And people say these are the people. Most of the people in these countries are atheists, right? They don't believe in religion. So there is no linkage between religion and donation. right? So that's the maximum donation which is coming. Another reason why their people are very, very happy is the content. And third is they forgive others. Forgive and forget. But what the question what I've asked is that, yes, beyond whatever is being mentioned in Civil 7, we almost cover everything. And we have many challenges also.
Thanks a lot, Satpathy Sahab. That's very interesting. I would turn to my friend Mukesh Kumarji particularly. When we talk to corporate sector, the biggest challenge they face probably is the trust deficit with the NGOs. It's a credibility nahi hai, transparency nahi hai. How do we really size them up? Well, lots of things have come up like gold stars and all that. But having said that, still find there's a centralized database kind of a thing which is credible, trustworthy, where they can go blindly actually is missing. So what's your sense and what are you doing there because you have been conducting lots of training sessions, lots of capacity building sessions, also policy level you have been working a lot. So are you also doing some work there also?
When we started with this journey in 2014-15, this term quote-unquote trust deficit was very, very high because corporate sector was involved and most of them were getting involved for the first time. And for the NGOs and civil society, this was also a very new experience to work in a project mode. They were very adept with the grant which they have been receiving and either the government or from international organizations. So this so-called trust deficit was very high. But over the period, I would say, in the last 10 years, there have been what we call as the NGOization of the corporates and corporatization of the NGOs of government. So this deficit has actually declined substantially. But having said that, we also are aware of the fact that there has to be learning on both the sides. The corporates also have to learn about how the social development space works, which may not be 2 + 2, 4 always there. And the corporate and the implementing organizations also have to understand that. We also were aware of the fact that the idea of corporate social responsibility was to align with the national priorities and the sustainable development goals. So if you look at the category of implementing organizations, we have given 4 categories to do that. Either you can do it directly without having any implementing partner. Second one is the NGOs, those who are supposed to do it, either trust, Section 8 or society. There are other government organizations which have been formed under the Act of Parliament or State Legislature, Act of State Legislature. And then companies can also collaborate with each other. You are right that the most highlighted one was the one where the NGOs have said that we want to be the implementing organization. But as my friend Abhishek pointed out in the beginning, it's also the government institutions, either at different levels, have started asking for this one. So we introduced this concept of what is called as a CSR-1 form, those who can be then implementing organization. So there have been a proliferation of the implementing organization for CSR, not just the NGOs, but also the other kind of organization. But the last one, where one company can collaborate with other company, that has not been explored very much so far. So I would still suggest that some work needs to be going on. And implementing organizations are very, very good quality. Before joining IICA, I had the privilege of working with USAID, DFID, and the Norway and the Canadian CEDA. All these organizations I had worked with, and I realized that the quality of implementation in CSR is much better with this legislation as compared to when these organizations were giving grants. So there are opportunities, and we have got a long way to go. But yes, we are on the path.
Thanks a lot, Mukesh Kumar. It's very reassuring to hear that things are improving, trust deficit is decreasing, and we're on the right path actually. So for the last question, I'll come to Dr. Upadhyay quickly. Now, how do you see next 10 years unfold? It's difficult to say for you for next 10 days, but just it would give us a quick sense of, you've seen how things have come this far, and how do you see future unfolding in the next 10 years?
See, one thing is there, CSR is going to stay. It's going to have more and more money, more and more legislation, more and more involvement of people. तो ये एक ऐसा रास्ता है जो हमेशा रहेगा और people will keep on talking about it. We'll have more money, we'll have more legislation, we'll have more people involved in it. It has a bright future. जब मैंने I did my rural management with Dr. Varghese Korean. He started in Irma that time. We were the first batch. And when I went to Kalahandi for 1 month, I was very happy for a very different reason. I said I'm learning social work. और कालाहांडी में जाके मुझे एक बात तो श्योर हो गया कि गरीबी यहाँ कभी ख़त्म नहीं होगी. तो till India has problem, it has populations, we will have enough work, it will go on and we'll keep on discussing. Thanks a lot.
Dr. Upadhyay, it's good to know that we have a bright future in CSR actually, and hopefully the CSR fraternity will be out of job at some stage, which would mean that it has accomplished its purpose. Thank you very much.